I don't think any neutral observer would say that Wilkes-Barre hasn't made some significant strides in the past few years in terms of the brick and mortar projects. However, there's still a lot to do, and I'm sure people have brought that to you, your supporters have brought it to you, there's still a lot to do here. So why now?
Well, why now is I believe the foundation has been laid, and it's a very strong foundation, and the walls have started to go up. And I believe that there's always somebody to take the place of the outgoing mayor, and I believe we have adequate people that they have the ability to run the city, and I would be working hand in hand with them as their senator to make sure that these projects that we have been working on for years get started and get finished in a timely manner. And you know, it's tough walking away from something that you really have your heart and soul into. But I believe I still have my heart and soul, not only in the city of Wilkes-Barre, but all the towns that need my assistance.
And you've said that if elected, your priority would be jobs. Certainly that resonates with a lot of the public, but realistically, what can be done that Ray Musto hasn't tried in 30 years? Talk to us about your strategy as far as jobs.
Well, jobs creation is through making the towns accessible and safe and clean. And, you know, I'm proud of what has been accomplished in the city of Wilkes-Barre. And, you know, I've been criticized openly about only being worried about what goes on in the downtown. But let's face it, for those that have been here for the last 6 to 10 years, the town was going in the wrong direction. And I had to start somewhere. And if I was to show you all the work that we have completed in the residential neighborhoods, I think you'd be shocked. Because, as I said in other public meetings, the paving a street or fixing a catch basin is not newsworthy. But it's very important to that property owner whose house that's in front of. But you look around the downtown now, there's people walking around downtown. There's police on the beat. Just last week when we had the 100 jobs opening announcement at the Wilkes-Barre Center, the Frontier Building, that building I believe was 40% occupied in 2003. It's now 97% occupied with good paying jobs. Those jobs don't come here unless we build that intermodal transportation center. And I was criticized for that, saying, what does Wilkes-Barre need with 752 car garage? There's a perfect example. Those 100 jobs are going to pay between $60,000 and $75,000 do not locate in downtown Wilkes-Barre without that garage. Without those 100 people shopping in Boscov's or shopping, eating in the restaurants, these restaurants do not survive. And it's very encouraging when you go out for lunch and you see these restaurants where they're full. And you come downtown on the weekends, and then during the week, these restaurants are doing extremely well. And even on the weekends, I mean, we have over 500,000 people visit the theater each year. And at any given point on a Friday and Saturday night between the hours of 9 and 11, there's 5,000 people walking downtown. That's very encouraging. I mean, that's been a significant change from the past.
So how do you replicate?
The jobs is you have to invest in your cities. You have to invest in your community. Otherwise, the jobs don't follow. If you're not going to invest in your community, jobs will not follow. So without the street lights, without the increase in police department, without the increase in cleanliness, without building a garage, without making the town attractive. I remember when I first announced in February of 2003, I met with a local executive vice president of one of our major employers who just still happens to be in the downtown. He wanted to know what my vision, what my goal was to run the city of Wilkes-Barre. And I laid that vision out for him because they were going to be entering into another 5-year lease in one of our local office buildings. If he didn't see significant change, or his company did not see significant change in the first year of my administration, they were not going to renew that option. I had 1 year to show that I was going to make a difference. And we laid that plan out. And the plan, I think, has come together pretty well. And as you said, though, there's much more to do. But when you look at where we were in 2004 and as compared to now, you have to admit the first 2 years was on the planning stage. I mean, 04 and 05. 04 was strictly on the financial side, getting the books in order, which was really difficult, reorganizing City Hall. 05 was where we really start to lay the plans out. And 06 is when things really start to happen.
What makes you better suited to accomplish job creation than John Udiccia?
I believe I've been involved directly with bringing the jobs here. I've been the one that has met with the people. I was the one that knocked on the doors in 2004 to go out and encourage investment in the city of Wilkes-Barre, encourage development. Nobody would call me back. I physically had to go knock on people's doors and talk to them, get them to come down. Look here, look at our vision. I remember meeting with the executives in Barnes & Noble down in Wilkes University's president's office, Dr. Tim Gilmore. Two individuals come down from Barnes & Noble, and I'm the mayor of Wilkes-Barre, and we're meeting with Kings and Wilkes officials and the chamber officials, and nothing's done. There's no street lights. We have the construction lights that are lighting our downtown. The theater was a vacant lot. The Labor Industry Building was a hole in the wall, hole in the ground. There was no stores open. There was no restaurants. We laid out what our vision was. We said there's going to be a theater here. Here are the street lights. Here's how they're going to be lit. Here's what we're going to do. And quite honestly, I wasn't so confident that we had sold them. And they went back and they said, you know what? The mayor has a vision. Kings and Wilkes are working together. I mean, to bring two competing schools that compete for the same academic and athletic student together to close their bookstores on their campus, to move them a block down into a vacant building, a former Woolworths building for 18 years, so that we can get a Barnes & Noble. That's the type of cooperation you need, and that's how jobs are created. Bringing people together that who in the past have not. And I've been involved with these meetings. I've been involved with selling the city. I can help sell cities.
There might be people who say, well, the representative knows Harrisburg, he can get things done. What would your response be to that?
Well, he's going to be going into a new position also. He's going from one side of the aisle to the other side as a senator. I'm going from the mayor and a former legislator as a city councilman down to Harrisburg. I work with the people. I worked with Representative Todd Aegis over the budget stalemate last summer because it was affecting us. I've spoken with people from the Philadelphia delegation. I've spoken to senators. I spent time down there. I've worked with DCEP. I've worked with all the different secretaries. You know, again, I've been to Harrisburg, not as often as he has been, but I believe my experience in government for 19 years now will allow me to adapt to the change from going from Wilkes-Barre to the state capital to represent the 14th district.
What types of reforms, if any, would you support if elected?
Well, I think we need to address the school tax, the property tax and the school tax. That's naturally the largest of all the taxes in the municipalities throughout the district, and they are getting out of control. And we need to really hit hard and bring more revenue so that people really, you know, there has been a small reduction in property tax with the gaming money, but we really need now with table games coming into the casinos, there's going to be more revenue generated. The Marcellus Shale with the gas tax, that's going to generate new revenue. The state needs to look at new revenue that won't force people out of their homes, and there are ways of generating new revenue. I think those are the two big ticket items, and we need to really watch and analyze how that money is distributed, that it really goes back to the property owner who is vested in the towns that they live in, more so than people that just come and visit.
So would you support getting rid of a property tax, phasing it out somehow? Or?
Eventually, I think you're going to have to phase out property tax, especially on the school side, because the school side is really hurting the property owners. I mean, you look at what Wilkes-Barre's property tax is compared to the local school tax, I believe it's probably 65% lower than the school tax. So we're no different than any other town in the state of Pennsylvania, the city of Wilkes-Barre. We all have our financial problems. We all can't provide the services that are expected by our residents. So we need to generate new revenue. I believe that the gaming money and the gas tax on the Marcellus Shale will be new revenue that we need to distribute equally.
Would you vote for the legalization of video poker machines?
I'd have to evaluate that and see how it'd be handled and who would be eligible to get it. But that could be a source of revenue. But again, you don't want to create an atmosphere that's going to put people out of their house because they're gambling their paycheck away. I would have to see how the revenue, the type of revenue that would be generated from that. But it would be something that I would entertain, but I wouldn't commit to a yes or no right now. I'm the type of guy that really analyzes the pros and cons of my decisions, and that is something that I would really have to look at to make sure it would not adversely affect the local property owner or the local employee.